Hey guys, Adam here. I'm here in my office at home, which is a bit of a mess because we're in the middle of moving house. I don't know if you can see all the clutter, but I apologise for that. So yeah, today I am going to edit a full multicam set of speeches from a wedding. The last time that I tried to do a video like this, I tried to edit a ceremony in real time, and it was a little bit controversial to say the least. I had some varied comments about it. If you didn't see that video, I'll link it below and you can go and check it out. It's how I edited a multicam ceremony from a wedding and how I edit a multicam sequence. But if you did see that, it's not really any different to what I'm going to be doing today. The method's still the same. I edit my multicam ceremony and speeches in the same way pretty much, but I just wanted to show the method again and edit some speeches this time, just to reiterate the method and the technique, because you really can edit a full set of speeches or a full ceremony in 10 minutes, and I think having the knowledge and the techniques will save you loads of time in your editing. I'm going to do it slightly differently this time. I'm going to use multicam clips, but essentially the process is the same. To be honest, it's more about how you film the wedding on the day and your mindset and your approach to this that allow you to be able to edit a full multicam ceremony or speeches in, like, no matter how long the actual ceremony took place, or no matter how long those speeches actually were, you can edit them down in like 10 minutes. You might have a set of speeches that's 45 minutes long, 3 speeches of 10-15 minutes each. You could still edit them all in about 10 minutes. And the key to it is more about how you shoot on the day and your mindset and your approach and your technique when you come to do this. And if you do it right, there really is no need to be watching through every second of those speeches as you're editing through it and watching it back live, because you know you've already watched the speeches once on the wedding day, so there's no reason to sit through and watch all of them again. You can just skim through and cut it and edit it really quickly. So all I'm going to do is dive right into a screen record of me editing a set of speeches, and I'm just going to leave the camera running so it's all real time. This is me actually, as the clock's ticking, editing a full set of speeches roughly. So I hope this is enjoyable, and let's dive in. Okay, so all I've done here, as regular viewers will know, I edit in Final Cut Pro, and I've just made an event. I've got a couple of I've got a project here called Speeches, and in there I've loaded in the audio from all those speeches, which is all on one file. I'll explain that in a minute. And then I've got my 2 shots from my 2 clips from the day. So I've got just a continuous recording from my static camera that I set up on the top table, and then I have my other camera, my main camera, that I was monitoring, and that's just a different angle of each speaker. Now the way that I shoot, because of the way that I shoot, that's gone bright. Because of the way that I shoot, I try and be quite static with the main camera. The B cam is unmanned and static on a tripod, but I do try to be quite static myself with the A cam as well, so that there should be minimal bits of movement and wobble, so I shouldn't have to worry about looking out for wobble too much. You know, most of it is just pretty static, which means that I don't have to be skimming through every second of the footage to see if I'm moving about or if there's any wobbly bits, because I'm pretty confident that I've just left the monopod stood still and it hardly jiggles all the way through. So that's the first kind of rule for editing this way. But then my 2 clips, I've got a shot on the top table and I've got a shot on each speaker, and then I've got all the speeches on one audio file. Now I did this with the Sony TX650s. I taped one of those recorders to the microphone at the wedding and they passed the microphone round. I also had backup audio on each speaker, but it just so happens that the one on the mic worked this time. They passed it all round and I got good audio from all 3 off one recorder. So that's that. I got lucky there, but to be honest, this is a fairly standard setup for me. I'll always, if there is a mic, I'll always try and put a recorder on it so that I can get away with just one audio file. And I'll always have, you know, a sort of wide angle shot on the top table, and I'll always have a shot on the speaker. So this is pretty standard. And all I've done is highlighted all three clips, and right click, new multicam clip. That is the multicam clip. Right click, new multicam clip, give it a name, hit OK, and then it makes it here. I've dragged it in. Done. Now that I've got my file down here, the first thing I need to do is set the audio. So I'm going to change the audio angle to speeches. Now, of course, you could use the is up here somewhere, showing viewer, the angle viewer, this bit, but to be honest, I don't really need it. I'll leave it on, but I don't really need it. All I need to know is that the audio is set to my audio file from the TX650, and I'm just going to trim the fat here until we get into the when the actual speeches start. And I'm going to set my main angle for now as the wide angle that was on the top table, because that was set up and that's consistent throughout. So I'm just going to find my start point. Here he is. Okay, I'm going to get rid of that so you can see that a bit better. Showing view angles, get rid of that. I'm going to trim the fat at this end as well. And then I'm going to hit Command and T to make a cross dissolve, fade in, fade out at either end. And there's Dad doing his speech. Now, this is 28 minutes worth of speeches, all prepped up and ready to go. Now, to edit this as a multicam, all I'm going to do is I'll bring back up that angle viewer. View, showing viewer angles. I've got my two angles here. The current angle is selected in blue like that. All I'm going to do is skim through to about a couple of minutes, and then I'm going to hit that one, and that will change the angle to this view here. And then I'll skim through another couple of minutes and I'll change the angle back. Come on, audio, and right, make sure you select video only. This is a rough guide, by the way. I do take more time normally. Make sure you've got video only selected there, so you're not changing the audio every time you make a cut. But yeah, 2 minutes in, I'm just going to cut to that one, and then another 2 minutes, I'm going to cut back to that one. Another 2 minutes, I'm going to cut back to that one. And I'll just go through, cutting as I go, every couple of minutes. I'm just choosing an interval point. So I've decided I'm going to make a cut every 2 minutes. It could be every 1 minute, it could be every 30 seconds, it could be every 3 minutes, 4 minutes, whatever. You don't need to do it that often, is my point. So every 2 minutes, I'm just going to cut between the two angles. And I've not really got much choice here because I've only got two angles. But essentially it just goes from one angle to the next, a few minutes on that one, back to that one, back to that one, back to that one. And because both angles are fairly static, I don't have to worry about any sort of wobbles. Now, all I would do from that point, as far as I'm concerned, that's done. I've got my two angles, I've got my full set of speeches there, cut between two angles, and I've advertised the multicam speeches to the bride and groom as a real-time edit, a real-time recording of your speeches, shot from two different angles and cut in between the two. And that's what this does. It cuts between the two angles every couple of minutes. Obviously, when I'm making the full film, I might decide that at this point, I want to show the groom from that angle. So I would pull that bit out and I'd change it in the film. But this is just for the real-time speeches that I'm giving them, so you don't have to watch every single second and make sure that you're cutting at the right moments. The couple are never going to know. They're just going to watch. The film is where you get creative. The speeches, the ceremony, the real-time recordings, that's just a nice keepsake for the bride and groom to have. They just want a this video, all they expect is just a real-time recording of the speeches. Quite frankly, just giving them that angle.
Having a good laugh. It was everything I ever wanted for, and everything I ever dreamed for.
That's all you need. That's your speeches. So it's having that kind of mentality to just make those cuts without feeling like you need to go through and watch the whole lot. All I would do is just maybe skim, because like on this, okay, so I've skimmed through there and I've already seen that I have actually cut away to a reaction here. So, you know, I might just have a little play with that one. I don't want to actually name names, but there is a couple that have made maybe a bit of an effort by travelling 100 miles from their home to an airport and then travelling over 5.5. Cut to that, and I've just cut out the wobble there. For welcoming Abby into your fold, and I can assure you that Josh. Now, obviously, there's a bit of a reaction there from one of the guests, and I could tidy that up so that it shows the reaction without all the wobbles. But all I'm doing at this stage is skimming through and just seeing of this main camera that I know I monitored. I was. I was handling this angle on my monopod, so I know that of the two angles, this one has the potential to be a bit wobbly. So all I'm doing is going through it and looking for any major wobbles. If there's no major wobbles, all good. So yeah, I mean that's it. It was a little bit rough, and I probably would, if this was actually going to a couple, I would spend a bit more time just tweaking it. Maybe another, you know, like I say, just skimming through and finding those little moments and spend another 5 minutes on it. But the idea being, and what I want to show you guys, is that you can literally just load in a multicam clip and make cuts at intervals and alternate between two angles and have it done and sent out and finished. You could do this the morning after the wedding, so it's out the way and done, and you don't need to spend hours and hours on it. Because the last one I did, people were confused that I wasn't watching the whole ceremony all the way through. When you don't need to, you can just skim it. So that was the kind of intention that I wanted to show with this video, and hopefully that will save you loads of time in your editing. So if you like this video, please like it, and if you've got any questions or you want to know a bit more, leave me a comment. If you want to see another kind of editing tutorial like this, where I dive into a screen record and show you how I'm actually editing my films, and let me know. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you want to see edited. What kind of editing techniques or tips you want to know and want to see on this channel. And yeah, hope that was helpful. I will see you guys on the next one.